Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on February 5th. Okay, that's only one. February 5, 2025. I've got the great Donna Terrell here. I always said her name is Terrell, but she corrected me somehow last week. And so I'm going to say it the right way from now on, if I remember. And Donna's a very good person. You can tell because she's not fussy about her name. She doesn't go crazy when someone, she knew I was talking to her. She didn't have to put me down and scold me and say, don't you know how to pronounce my name? No, I don't. I wasn't trying to do anything, okay? She's not like that, okay? That's what I would say is a good indicator of some kind of psychology, okay? These little things. But don't take it from me. You might be someone who, would get mad if your name's Joseph and they call you Joe, okay? But she's not like that, and that's the kind of person I like. Okay, Donna, Donna is now on the inside of a corporation. I believe that biases her incredibly because I'm going to ask her now about if the hiring manager reschedules an interview twice, okay, what are you going to do? If you're a third-party recruiter, are you going to say, this person is not serious about hiring. I'm walking away before I lose all my candidates waiting for him or her to get with the program. Now, Donna told me before I started recording, she said, well, it depends. Okay, you explain now, Donna. And I'm getting mad. I want you to know that. That's who you're today. I got all these tech problems. It was worked me up.
Okay, well, calm down. Calm down. Don't you love when people tell you that? So, okay, I said before it depends because it depends on how much the person wants to work at that company. So, would that be ideal and would I want to keep them on as a client long term? No, just like with my hiring managers, I push them and push them and push them to keep the process moving.
Let me interrupt you right there. No.
No, there is a
but. Your first recourse to say it depends if the candidate wants a job. No, the first issue is the hiring manager, not what's wrong with that hiring manager, not what's wrong or right with the candidate.
It's not about what's wrong or right with the candidate, but it's how much does the candidate want to work there? Because if they really, really want that company and that role, then they might be willing to wait on somebody who's not behaving the way I would want them to behave. If I'm not on the inside, I'm probably not going to know exactly why they keep pushing back. Being on the inside, I completely know. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would know now why they're pushing. I would know if it's legit. I would know if they suddenly had some deliverable that they just literally didn't have time to do anything. But on the outside, it would be hard to know that.
What if you thought they were just, they weren't taking it seriously enough? You weren't their priority. They want the search, and these people people can be crazy. Okay, Donna, I want this person. I'm desperate for this person, and yet they keep putting you behind other people when you actually apply the person.
Okay, but here's the thing: you've got two issues going on. One issue of how are you going to handle it with one particular candidate that you have in the process, and the other issue is how do you handle it as a client moving forward. And what I'm saying is, if I had a candidate in process and this was some place that they really, really, really wanted to be, that I would leave it up to them if they wanted to ride it out and see what happens. But a separate question is, do you keep that company as a candidate? Do you continue to work with that hiring manager in the future? That's a altogether different question. It would be a red flag. And certainly if I didn't feel like I was getting straight answers as to what was going on, or if I didn't agree or I thought I was getting the runaround, then that wouldn't be a good client. So you can walk away. But do you walk away when you have someone in process?
We understand. Now, Donna, I'm going to compliment you on something.
Okay.
Are you ready? Tom posted this week, Tommy Pistachio Alacio, he posted about Pickle.ai, Pickle. You got it right away. I didn't see the point of it, okay? The point is, here's what, you could take a picture of yourself in a business suit, go to a real office, not your backyard garden shed or wherever you are, okay? A classy looking.
This is a real office.
I like your office, okay, but you have to cater to the biases.
I have a background for work.
Let me finish. Fine. Okay,
go on.
You go to an office in a business suit. You take a picture of yourself, feed it into Pickle.ai, and then whenever you're in a video meeting on any platform, it animates that photo and turns it, but your voice comes on, but instead of closing the camera so they can't see that you're unshaven, if you're a guy, you're wearing a t-shirt and flip-flops and shorts, and you've got a puppy on your lap and a beer in your hand. They can't see that, but they think they can see you looking so spiffy, and they're really having a real life conversation with you. I didn't see it. Donna said right away, hey, that's great. I can go for a walk and be miles away from my home and still have or my office and still have the meeting and look like I'm the real thing. Okay. So that's my compliment to you. Any comments?
Well, thank you. No, Tommy and I talked about that a little bit more, I think yesterday, and we have some questions about the functionality of it, and I haven't tried to play with it yet, but and even depending on if you're at a work, like if you work at an agency or you work at a whatever company, how useful it could be, because we're wondering like how well does it track when you laugh or when you cough, or like if you even like clothes changes. You know what I'm saying? Like if
you're assuming that it's not going to work as well as advertised at the.
Well, we don't know. There's different. We had all sorts of.
You've got a Mac.
That we
it only works on Mac, by the way, and you've got a Mac. Okay.
Yes, I am not allowed to use that for my work stuff. All my work stuff is on my work computer, but I thought I might try it with some of my classes that I'm taking, like in the Zoom sessions. I might try it on that.
Okay, good work. Okay. But Tom had that new show he's got yesterday. Did you go there? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I joined him for a few minutes. I didn't catch it at the beginning, but it was good. I thought he did a good job.
Okay, yeah, he's very good. Yeah. Okay. Now there's another related tool called Better Pick, BetterPic.io, and you send in 8 casual photos, just wearing your t-shirt or whatever, and it turns into pictures of you with a business suit on, and they enhance your picture. I posted a picture of the woman who was talking about it. She was nice looking, but it enhanced her. It made her even a little better looking. Okay.
Sure.
And so that's that. You can put that into your LinkedIn profile or your website or stuff like that. You don't even have to have you don't have to go out and buy clothes for $300. They'll make it look like you've got those. You remember, I don't know if it was when you were a kid, my sister had it. They had those dolls, paper pictures, and you could buy pictures of dresses, and they had those little tabs on the shoulders. You put them over this is essentially the same thing, right? Okay,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you need to pay for it. I guess the clothes part, but it's so easy to enhance photos anyway. I don't know why you would need to pay for a service to do that. There's so many free tools to do that with.
Okay, we're talking about clothes, okay?
I know. I get it. I get it.
Automated. You don't have to learn. You don't have to learn how to use Photoshop or anything like that, okay?
But you don't even need. That's one of the things that Tom and I were talking about yesterday too. There's so many tools out there now, because he was talking about something to help build a website. And I was like, but I don't even know how much help you need nowadays to build a website. Even if you just go into WordPress, it's pretty easy. Like so many things are so easy for the user. I don't know how many things you really need to pay for, I guess what I'm saying. I mean, you can use Snapchat filters. You have to be careful because they can clean things up too much. But just using those filters when you take pictures.
Okay, enough.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know if you need to pay for it.
Yeah, okay. Just don't go on so long, okay? That's what I'm famous for, keeping it short, okay? Now, here's another question. What about controversial content? Do you think a recruiter, did I ask this question last week?
I don't think so.
If you're posting on LinkedIn, somebody said, oh, people really love long form content. That goes against what everybody has been saying, that you have to keep everything short, bite-sized. That's all people have time for. I don't know if that's always been true. This guy says long form, and now this other guy says controversial. He says, I thrive on intellectual controversy. Controversy means attention, and attention means sales and influence. Okay? What do you think about that? I am not sure that's what a recruiter wants.
You're talking like my answer. It depends too. I think on what, like for me internally, no, because I always have to be mindful of the company I represent. So I can only be
What about imagine?
it
Oh,
wouldn't
no,
be
no,
wise. But if I was
imagination.
okay,
First
listen,
of
I'm
all,
getting there.
first of all, no, 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 let me guide
Okay.
you. Let me guide you. Okay.
Okay,
On
guide
this
me.
shirt, in this show, you don't say, "Well, it depends." Depends. I would say no.
It does
You just say,
depend.
no, 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 no. You just say no. Recruiting
No.
animal. That's a clear no. Okay, and
But
I'm
it's
going to
not a
tell you
clear,
why.
it's not a
I'm going
clear
to tell you
no.
why. Okay.
It's not a clear no, and it's not a clear yes. Let me tell you why. Think about someone like Amy Miller. She'll be controversial sometimes. She'll be in people's face, and it brings about a lot of attention, and it's worked for her. And she's even inside a company, but she already was who she was before they brought her on board. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she already had her brand. So I think you just have to be. I think you have to know who you are and what context you're working in and what people you're trying to reach. And then you have to develop a strategy based on that. So it's got to be authentic to who you are. And it also has to be smart enough to hit the
So
target that you want to
today. I'm
target.
so happy you're here. You energized me, okay? But you are verbose. Get to the
Well,
point. Get to the
I
point.
did. That's my
You
point.
know, you're not supposed to
That is
talk
my
in general
point.
terms. At least you gave Amy as an example, but then you
Amy's
went
an
off.
example.
Okay, so when you say, well, let me ask you a question. When you say you got to know your audience, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of recruiter would have an audience that would be interested in controversy? Okay, not recruiters, not
Listen,
other recruiters. That's who, and
I'm
that's
going
who
to answer
Amy is.
that.
That's who
I will
Amy is
answer
talking
you.
to. Okay.
Listen, if I were recruiting just very slightly differently than what I am, if I were in medical advertising instead of medical education, and I were dealing with the advertising people, like the copywriters and more the graphics people and all of that, they love it. They love the back and forth and that they love that stuff. So it would be very good to engage
So
my copywriters.
what kind of article on LinkedIn or posting would be controversial in that other
Mm.
market? Can you think of anything offhand?
Um, any of the things that deal with what's going on in the office, like returning to work, or like if you took a hard stand that was not popular, like returning to office, that would be something they'd all yell about, or even like the top dogs getting all of the credit and the glory for what the lower levels are doing. Like it's all the stuff that they care about, like what they're doing. I don't know that it would be like controversial stuff just in life, like politics or something, but definitely within their world.
Okay. Okay. And now here's something I don't understand. Maybe on the inside you do. I want a nice, clear yes or no. I don't understand it, recruiting animal. I can't contribute. Okay. That's well, I don't no. Okay. What about interim jobs? And now they've been around for a while. I used to know a guy who worked in that field. He would bring in a company needed a VP of something for 6 months, and he would bring them in. How do you find people who just want to work for 6 months as a VP? I guess they're contractors. You
Mhm.
call them
Yeah,
contractors.
we work with contractors and freelancers. That they market
For,
themselves as such.
well, hold on. For like management positions, senior positions.
If needed, I mean, whatever we would need it for, we can. We got one for
You're
like
not giving me a clear answer. Okay. Yeah, we
I'm
brought in a VP. Yeah, we brought in a director of marketing.
I'm trying to think of the highest level we brought someone in. I think the highest level we brought someone in as a freelancer was with digital marketing, like the head of strategy of digital marketing. But yeah, we've had pretty high levels that as freelance and contract, but sometimes it's contract that they want a job, like you're saying, like that it's interim, that it's going to be like 6 months and over. And sometimes they're coming on for specific jobs and projects. So they're kind of two different things, but
Yeah,
they can be the same person.
hiring a project manager or a developer for a specific project is
You
different
get
than
good money.
hiring a VP. Okay, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the title is
It's
confusing me.
listen. What's her name? Is it Diane Prince, I think?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So that's like her whole method is getting you involved in these kind of freelance contract roles because and then you get a company like to handle the payroll for you and you're getting a cut of like every check that they get. It's how she built like tons and tons of
Okay,
business.
no, that's a contract business. Diane was a guest on this show in
Yeah.
2013, I think, ages ago.
Yeah, but contract interim, I mean, interim is the
Okay, we're
same
going on
idea.
too
Like
long.
you're gonna do it for
It's
it's the same
over.
idea.
It's
Same
over.
idea.
It's
Same
over.
idea.
Okay. Okay.
Same idea.
Interview prep. The random
Mm.
recruiter had a very long list of things. You and Tommy both commented. His
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Okay. I think you said something positive, whereas Tom doesn't believe in extensive interview prep. He says, yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
this is great. You're turning a candidate into someone she isn't. So when she finally gets hired and goes in the company, she can't do anything. You made her seem better than she really is. And he says, I'll never do that. And I'll never misrepresent the candidate like that to my client. I want them to go in raw. Okay. And so if I'm going to run through some of the, do you still have a few minutes?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, because you let me know. Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
run through some of the points that he discusses. He says, always choose video over phone. You build trust faster when the candidate can see your face, or you can see the interviewer's face, and because you read their body language and enthusiasm level. Yes or no, video over phone. Which one do you prefer? I prefer phone.
Screening, phone, the real interviews with the hiring managers, video.
You prefer video.
When they're in the real interviews,
Why?
yes.
Why?
What he said. It's the
Okay.
same thing.
What he said. Okay.
Yeah, what he said. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is actually the recruiter, though. Random recruiter says that you in your screen should be using video. Why not?
Nah.
Why
I don't
not?
think it's necessary because the stuff that I'm screening for, I'm not looking at I don't need that for. I don't need to know all their body language and stuff. I need to know, what have you done? What are you looking for? Does it align? And then I listen for some of those extras, but it's not necessary for the screening,
Okay.
in
Now,
my opinion.
now he says the recruiter should do all don't leave the research of the interviewers to the candidate. You don't know if the candidate's going to do it. You supply a profile of each interviewer and you give that to the candidate. Break down each interviewer's background and role. Add your personal insights, such as Sarah's been leading the cloud infrastructure team for 3 years. She's big on scalability and loves discussing system design trade-offs. Okay. Do you think you should be doing, as a recruiter, doing all that prep work for the candidate?
I think you dial it back a little bit. I think this is where it gets tricky. I do tell my people, I tell my candidates who they're going to meet with, and I'll direct them to their LinkedIn profile. And I do let them know things like how long they've been with the company or what they've been doing. I don't try to give them hints like, they really like to talk about puppies or whatever. Like, I don't say anything like that. However, I feel like when you're in the agency, if you can know stuff about the hiring managers, like that much stuff, because you've really developed those relationships, it also gives you credibility with candidates, because most don't know. Like, they don't know. They couldn't even do that. Most could do nothing more than showing a LinkedIn profile. And it builds credibility with candidates that you actually know the people that they're going to talk to.
Okay, so
So,
tell me the difference, though, between being on the outside and
mhm,
being on the inside. My guess is the hiring managers far better.
far better. I
Okay.
know them far better. I had to sound like I knew them better than I did. You know what I mean? Like, I had to sound very confident in the things I was saying. And a lot of times it was based on things I had heard rather than things I actually knew when I was on
Okay,
the
but
outside.
let me ask
It's
you
a
a
bit
question based
difference.
on what you just told us, okay? I was
Hmm.
surprised you said, well, I'm not going to tell them that Sarah likes to talk about puppies, but why not tell them Sarah likes to talk about this this business, this part of the profession? Why not say, hey, this is her favorite, she's really excited about this
Well,
aspect of
okay,
what we're
on the
doing.
inside. So listen, on the inside versus the outside, I'm not championing any particular candidate. So those are little tips and tricks that I'm not going to try to position somebody higher than they would be. So the stuff that I give them is, it's not going to give them a leg up. It might just make them feel more comfortable and be able to give them a place to start with their questions. But I'm not trying to
Okay, I
advocate for a
got your point.
candidate.
I'm guiding you today, okay? There's nobody else to interrupt you but me. So it's going to seem a little, usually they'll talk over, we'll all talk over each other. Today
That's
it's
true.
me.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Here he says, help candidates align their own stories with the company values. I always find company values are nonsense. They're just, oh yeah, we want to work hard. Okay, we're
No, they're not.
dedicated.
They're not always nonsense. Like at my company, they're very real and they're discussed frequently. So actually, it's a good thing if people have done that research. But I wouldn't spoon feed them
Is it on
that.
the website? Are the company values on the website? Company
Well,
website?
now we've had the acquisition, so I don't know if they are anymore. I'm not
But they
sure.
used
But
to
I believe
be.
they were. I
They
believe
used
they
to be.
were. I'm 85% sure they
Hold
were.
on, your company was acquired and you still got a job?
Yeah,
Oh, good for you. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, but
I'm still here.
how could you help a candidate align her values with the company values? Can you pick one a value and say this is what you want to show how you demonstrate this value?
I mean, I don't know. Okay, so with my company, if I were an agency recruiter and I knew the values that my company that I work at now
Pick
did,
one. Talk in concrete terms. Pick one.
okay, so I'm like I told you one already was be curious. So knowing that curiosity is a value, I would probably remind them to ask questions and I would coach them. Don't ask so many questions that it sounds like you're putting them on the spot and you're being an interviewer, but remember your place, but find relevant questions to ask to show that have something to do with what you already know. So it shows that these aren't just random filler questions, but they're thought provoked based on what you've read.
Okay. Now I'm going to interject here with going off on a tangent. You know,
Okay.
if you don't know a lot about a specific thing or something that you could talk about, or you're not very loquacious, okay, I think that's partly habit, but partly brain structure. Okay. If people are always telling you, you don't have to know anything to go to a party or a meeting, you just go there and meet strangers and ask them a bunch of questions. That is nonsense. Conversations are not one-way streets where you ask a bunch of questions. So Donna just said, yeah, you're in there with the interviewer. Don't ask her a series of questions like you're writing an article about her. That's not going to work. You got to contribute something of your own as well, okay? Don't read. Oh, you can read every article you want, but don't fall for it, okay? They're so one-dimensional sometimes. It makes me mad. Okay, go ahead, Donna.
In our world of we're remote work, everything's remote, so all of our interviews are remote too. And one thing that I would always tell my candidates was put sticky notes all around your laptop, like around the edge of the things you want to remember to say or to contribute, especially for those real introverted types, to give them those little starters, because it'll always look like they're looking at the camera. No one's gonna be able to tell. They're not like looking down, and so we would tell them to do that. It was just to help those people.
I'm looking at my notes right now. I just flipped the tab over and you can't tell that I'm not looking at you right in the screen.
Well, you have sunglasses on, so no, I can't tell ever.
Yeah, but even if they were off, you probably wouldn't be able to.
You probably can't. Yeah.
Okay,
but things like that, like, you can give people prep like that. I don't think it's unfair prep. So like to Tommy's point that he would never prep anybody, I just don't think that's unfair prep. I think
wrong. Okay, that's what Donna's saying. She doesn't want to be straightforward. Oh, I don't know. It's wrong.
I don't know. How did I not say that? I feel like that was pretty clear.
Yeah, I don't
but
think so. Okay.
I think it was clear. I think he's
we
wrong about that.
go with it. We're not finished with this. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
Practice turning negative experiences into growth narratives. What does that mean? So I guess, they like to say, we had an IT manager. We were looking for an IT manager once, and the director of IT says, oh, no, we're looking for a project manager. And the guy who was the hiring manager was a great guy. I really liked him. He said, ask them, tell me about a time that the project went off the rails. And if they say never, I don't want to talk to that. I don't want to talk to that guy. Okay. So
right.
This sounds like that kind of story. You ask the candidate, tell me that, what time something went wrong and how you turned it around. Okay. And you help him or her get that story down pat before they go into the interview. What do you think of that?
Okay. Two things I think about that. Number one, totally agree that if someone sounds too Pollyanna and never admits to anything being wrong, that's bad. And that's probably someone who got over prepared in a bad way. So I would agree that that's bad. Learning how to phrase things so that people hear things the way you want them to hear it is good. And I will give you one example of how I helped a candidate. I don't know if he took my advice yet. I don't know. but I have a candidate who's been largely doing freelance work. And he was already telling me what he was planning to say in an interview, that he was going to tell the team, well, what I bring to the table is I'm not stuck in one way of doing things. I've been working with all of these different businesses and blah, 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 blah. And I stopped him and I said, wait, do you understand that all the people who you're on the interview with, they are those people stuck in one place. You've just insulted all of them. So how can you frame what you're trying to say where they look like good and you look good? And we talked about, ways of doing that, which I can tell you, but you'll probably cut me off. But I think those things are important, that you think about how you phrase things. But I think over preparing where everything sounds positive and wonderful, that's over preparing. You don't sound genuine.
What I think his point is fair, the random recruiter, and I think Tom would be wrong in this. People are going into interviews. Who knows when the last time they had an interview? They haven't thought this stuff through. Yeah. You're just helping them think through their you're like an editor.
Well,
and
look, you're not spending a ton. I would assume you're not spending a ton of time. If people can catch these suggestions that quickly, then I'm not thinking they're pulling one over on anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they have the ability to hear it, catch it, coach it, do it, that's good. They can do the same thing in their job.
Annie was on the show a number of years ago. He's a very big biller. He's in Japan. Great guy. Just so much energy coming out of him. And he spent, for senior positions, very big fees. He spent tons of time prepping his candidates for the interviews, if I remember correctly. So there's a mixed review of this kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. So, but you agreed with the random recruiter and me on that one. Okay. Teach them to connect their past impacts to the company's current challenges. Okay. Yeah. Give me an example.
Absolutely.
You have one? What do you mean? I've done this before. Okay. I know you want someone to write a newsletter, and I'm a marketing guy, and I've written 12.
Yes, because that's what I want to see on the resume. That's what I want to see everywhere. Like because I'll tell them, like, we're in a position in this. So like right now, I'm looking for 2 senior account executives. One of them needs to have experiences with meetings and one needs to have experience with content. And so when I'm talking to people, I want to know directly, what have your experiences been with content or with meetings? Like, how will you be able to contribute? Because this is the need we have now. Like, that is exactly what I'm looking at in the screening. And that's exactly what they need to speak to in the interview.
Is it possible the candidate's applying for a specific job and won't know that? Can't put 2 and 2 together? This is what they are looking for. I have to tell them when I've done it.
So it just depends on the quality of the information they got about the position. It's one of the reasons why people like working with me, to be honest. Like, and I hear that a lot from the candidates, because I give them a lot of information about here's what we need, here's what we're looking for, and making sure that it aligns.
Great the way she brags, but it's a kind of a humble brag. I mean, you don't feel that she's boasting.
Hey, it's not what I say about myself. It's what they're telling me.
Yeah, okay. The people are telling you, right? What would people? That's an interview question. What would people say about you and your candidates? They'd say, "Oh, we love Donna."
They do, but they do. They're so sweet. They're really sweet. They brag about me and blah blah blah. But that is what they'll tell that to me as well. That they appreciate it. That they appreciate knowing. And sometimes in a screening call, it's why we don't move forward, because they'll be like, "Oh, actually, I haven't done that. I'm not even interested in that." But the titles can be deceiving. The titles of roles can be deceiving based on what the actual need is of the company in that moment.
Okay, but you know what? Sometimes the feedback, they don't like it. The recruiter says they don't like me. If you ask them what it was like, they'd say, this guy's too tough, because I want to winnow out the people who aren't suitable. Lots of people are saying, yeah, I could do anything. And no, they can't. And I don't want to send them to my hiring manager to figure that out. They got to. I
had to have that conversation yesterday. I had to have that conversation with someone yesterday. They were a referral by someone internal from the company, so they felt really good about their chances of moving on, but they didn't have any relevant experience. And they're like, oh, but I'd like to do this and I'd like to do that. I'm like, well, I'm sure you would like to, and maybe someday you will. But in this position, we need someone who's already done X, Y, and Z. So if you gain that experience, we can talk again. Or if I get an entry-level position, I'll be happy to call.
Who referred that candidate? I've heard recently that these employee referral programs that everybody touts, that you get the best candidates from them, that it isn't really true. And
you get both. You get both. You get both. I mean,
but he's sending you his cousin or his pal, okay, who
mhm,
doesn't have anything to offer to the company.
yep.
It's dumped on you to say, no, you're no good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
get both though, but we've made, I want to say half of the hires we made, I think it's half, came from good referrals. I
Hmm.
mean, just in this last month, we've done, hopefully today I'll make 12 offers. We did 11 last month in January. And I want to say, I think 5 out of the 11 were referrals. They were good referrals. Now I also had bad referrals I had to weed through,
Okay, now
but
let
it's
me
worth
ask, when
it.
you turn those people down, because I've
Uh-huh.
read a number of articles recently or postings on Facebook about recruiters who've encountered hostile candidates when they say, no, you're no good for this job. You don't have. Yes, I do. Have you ever
Yes.
had that problem?
Yes. Yes, I have had that. I've had that happen. I had one who went all the way to one of our VPs telling the VP how horrible I was and how I didn't know how to do my job. She found her contact information. What she didn't know is I had placed the VP at the company when I was an agency recruiter. So she knew exactly how I worked as a recruiter, and now that candidate will never be hired for anything at our company because she lost all credibility.
Hmm.
But lucky me, that's, she complained to the right person for me, somebody who knew. But yes, that happens. That happens.
That's like Amy. She says when there's a problem, it's a little different. She says, I placed all those managers there. So when they want to do something dumb, they say, hey, didn't I do this for you when you were the candidate and somebody else was the manager? But so you're in a better position. These guys, you place the people. Okay, let's do a few
Yep.
more because I think this is an interesting. He was very thorough. He's a good writer, random
Yeah.
recruiter. He's got a newsletter that is worthwhile. Okay, he says, tell candidates they should be practicing as much as possible in front of a mirror so they can mimic a live interviewing scenario. Would you actually tell them? I think it's a good idea, but
I
I
never
don't.
told anybody that, but I think I do that by nature. You know what I mean? Like, I've never thought to tell someone else to do it because it just seems like a natural thing to do. I
Uh-huh.
don't know. Maybe I should tell them to. I don't know.
Okay. Well, also, he says you should use ChatGPT to put in your manager notes and the job descriptions and ask it to give you 10 or so questions that a hiring manager uh, would probably give you. Okay. And so you can tell the candidate, you can either feed those to the candidate, say the information is not coming from inside the company, it's coming from ChatGPT, and they should be able to do that themselves. Isn't that a good? Well, should any
Yeah.
candidate use ChatGPT now to generate questions that
I
are?
mean, they could, and they might, and it might be right on, and it might not. I'm not going to spend the time to do that for somebody, but I mean, they could do it if they want to.
Okay,
It
okay.
just depends. I mean, our hiring managers, I don't know. They are all different. So they all have their own personality and their own distinct way. So how smart and intuitive will Chat GPT be based off of a job description? It wouldn't work very well. It wouldn't work very well for our positions. I think I can say that with certainty because our job descriptions are very general to a title
Okay,
and
you're
not to
you're
the
running
need.
off. Okay, let me interrupt you.
No,
Well,
but this is important. No, listen, this is important because I tell people this, so you need to hear this. A lot of times people want a job description after I have spent, say, 20 minutes on the phone with them and been very clear about what our managers need. And I tell them the same thing. I'm happy to send you this general job description for this title, but I've just told you what we need. Do you know what I'm saying? So if they're listening to me, and this was the same thing as an agency recruiter, there is a job description, but then there's also the pain at the time. Listen.
you're very yeah, okay. Listen, no, see how emphatic she's making all kinds of hand signals here. Tom says
Just
he
saying.
records all his conversations, so then Gemini could summarize it for that person. Okay, or you could send the recording to the candidate. Although I don't know if that's a good idea, so they could listen to it again. Okay, it's a possibility. Let's do the final one about this. He said, "What would you advise these people?" Like, look at the problems I had today. I came on a half an hour early,
Mhm.
could barely solve the problem, and I'm here every week. Okay. How do you tell them to prepare technically? How early do you tell your candidates to show up on the platform?
Yeah, tell them to come early, but the main thing, I try to make sure that they always remember if they're having difficulty that they keep handy like the email address or whatever point of contact they have to be very proactive if the tech isn't working or to reach out to me directly. because it does happen. I mean, it happens more than we would like it to. But it shows that they're being proactive and trying to take care of it. The ones who do that way, it's always fine. The ones who are just like, oh, well, it's not working. And do you know what I'm saying? And they're not like troubleshooting quickly. It's bad.
Yeah, I guess it would be best to have the phone number so you could bang it out to, hopefully the hiring manager would answer, say, I'm having problems. My mouse is frozen and I can't get in.
And I was like, if they'd even go to the recruiter, so the recruiter can make that call and get them in. But yeah, I've had people that have had to finish calls on their phones, and and it's, as long as they're being proactive and trying to solve the problem, it's okay. But if they're not,
oh yeah, during the height of COVID, I had a medical appointment online, right? And I could see the guy. They had some special medical platform that I'd never used before. I could see him talking to me, but I couldn't hear a word. So we got on the phone, so I could see him still, but it was there. Okay, I'm gonna call it quits. Anything else you'd like to discuss? It's been fun. I enjoyed this conversation with you.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Nothing you want to plug? You don't have any new shows or anything like that?
No, I don't have any shows. I don't have, but you never know. One day it may come.
One day. Okay, let me see how I do this stuff. Okay, thank you, Donna Terrell. No, Terrell. Which one?
Terrell.
Terrell. Okay, bye, everybody.